Some people, they wear the badge of skepticism as if it was this thing to be proud of. And I don't think that's healthy because skepticism is actually a negative word. I understand the need to be discerning and to question things, and I love to do that. I love to question and I love to explore. But being a skeptic, there's this connotation of being closed, like you're closed-minded. Like, oh, I'm skeptical. I'm a skeptical person. That means I'm not open. I'm not open to suggestions. I'm not open to ideas. I'm not open to thoughts. I'm not open to a new perspective, and that's not healthy. So I think that it's much better to not focus on skepticism or being a skeptic, but to be open and discerning. I don't. I mean, I understand, the positive side of being um, skeptical, but I don't think it's healthy to be skeptical. I think it's much healthier to be open yet discerning, because when you're always skeptical by default, then you're closed to new ideas by default, okay? Which means that you're closed to growth, you know? And it can also mean that you're closed to receiving constructive criticism, you know? So I would say it's much healthier in life to be open and discerning, and also to be um, adventurous and to be an explorer. I prefer that. I prefer being explored. Let me explore this idea. Let me explore this possibility instead of, no, I'm skeptical of that. That means I don't even want to look at it. All I want to do is poke holes in it. Well, you know what? You can poke holes in anything. There's nothing foolproof except for, God. But everything else, there are imperfections, there are limitations to everything. And if you live your life looking for holes and imperfections and, all that stuff, I think it's going to be very hard to grow, you know. People who are very successful, they're willing to take risks, they're willing to be adventurous, they're willing to conquer new territory. And a skeptic will just find every reason to doubt and to stay away and to not try anything new, which is not healthy. So most of you know I'm an entrepreneur and I'm also very holistic. And I would not be a successful entrepreneur or holistic healer if I were only skeptical. I found success as an entrepreneur, as a businesswoman, because I was willing to look at the possibilities, and instead of focusing on all the ways that it could go wrong, I focused on how to make this right. Okay, and when it came to holistic health and healing, a lot of people they're skeptical of herbs and vitamins and all these natural things, but for some reason they're not skeptical of pharmaceuticals and vaccines and all these things with known side effects. It's like that's not true skepticism, if it's not true discernment either. It's very biased the way people are, you know. So I have found success by looking at an ideal and then pursuing it with all my might. And when something fails, I just go around it and I look for another way. And that's how I succeed. That's how I succeed in business. That's how I succeed in health. If I have a health issue, either myself or one of my children, I do what I can to, I do what I know. And if it fails, I try to think, okay, what am I missing? Do I need to stop doing something else, or do I need to add something? I do not give up. That is the key to holistic health and healing. If you have a serious disease and you know that the pharmaceutical medications that the doctors are giving you, you know in your heart of hearts that it's not working, like so many of my students, they knew. They're like, okay, this has been failing me for years. It might be 10 or 20 years. But, they were, for so long, they were unwilling to look outside the box, experiment. I'm very experimental. I experiment with business. I experiment with health. I'm very adventurous, and I explore, and that's how I find new things. That's how I find success. That's how come I can be an entrepreneur. That's how I can have health freedom and financial freedom. It's because I'm willing to explore. So I've started several businesses, okay, and in different niches also. And so I have three right now. I have one in the B2B niche. I have one in the health niche, and I also have a nonprofit that I run. I run all three of these. And my husband is very like, when I share with him a business idea, he loves to shoot it down, okay? And he loves to tell me like, why it won't work. But if he thinks it's a good idea, he will support it, okay? But whether or not he agrees with me or believes in my vision or dream, I take it into consideration, but I don't base my decision based on his opinion. Whether or not I pursue a goal, a vision, a dream, a business idea, whether it's nonprofit or anything, or in the health niche or whatever, it doesn't matter. The reason why I pursue it is I think to myself, do I have a strong, good reason, an honorable reason? Do I have a reason that God would honor, that God would want to bless and succeed? And if the answer is yes, then he does. He does bless it, and he does make it succeed. So my very first business was in the business niche. It was a B2B business. It's still going on. And the reason I started that business is because I wanted to stay home with my children. I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. So I thought to myself, is that something that God would want for me? The answer is yes. He wants mothers to be with their children. Absolutely, of course. And then my second business was in the holistic health niche. And the question is, does God want me to do this? Does God want me to teach people about holistic health and healing? And the answer is, of course, again, absolutely yes. Of course he wants me to share the knowledge and the wisdom that he has taught me, because it's so valuable. It brings healing. That is God's work on this earth. So of course he's going to bless that kind of business if I'm seeking to honor him. In my nonprofit that I run as well, when I first started it, it was like, I didn't even necessarily want to do it. But the question was, is this something that God wants me to do? And the answer again was overwhelmingly yes. This is something that people need and that I am able to provide. I need to do this. And whenever, there's been other businesses too, but when I know God wants me to do this, the answer is yes.